Hello and good evening, everybody. How are you? I am making just a quick adjustment here. I got this handy dandy, what is this thing called? Social Light, which is actually a perfect name. It's this bendy, windy thing. Hopefully I'm not gonna drop you on your head. Okay, I think that's the best I can do for now. And welcome to my office. It's a great big mess in here because it's been a little bit of a long week, but I'm really excited to be here. And I've got a little shake it up for you. I don't want to call it a class because it sounds so stuffy. So I want to call it an event. So welcome to my Shake It Till You Make It event. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling the seasonal drag right now. Hey Tom, how are ya? I'm feeling a little bit of that, oh gosh, it's winter. You know, winter is not my season, and that's okay. I'm learning how to adjust. I'm learning different tricks to get through it all, and that's a little bit why I'm jumping on tonight to share some tips and tricks to cope with the seasonal change. We are, let's see, about 2 to 3 weeks into winter, which this is where it gets really hard for me. From after the holidays until March 1st especially, I just have to get to March 1st. And for me, I literally have a countdown of, you know, for me, even just making it to March 1st feels rather overwhelming. So I'm just trying to make it to, hi, how are you? I'm just trying to make it to February 1st. You know, some days I'm like, I just need to make it next week because I'm tired. You know, I'm just tired of this weather. So, well, let me start with a really brief introduction for those of you who don't know me very well. Michelle here. We are a military family, and we moved to the Northern Virginia area. It'll be 2 years ago in April, and last year I did fairly well because it was my first winter out of New York, and that meant for me that I felt pretty good. I felt a lot more like myself than I had for the previous 3 years. The hard thing about the military life is you don't get to pick and choose where you're going to be. A lot of times it really is the luck of the draw where you're going to end up. You can ask for a certain place and hope and pray that you'll get it, but at the end of the day, you just let go. You just let go. And so that's kind of where we were. And I struggled for those years in New York. It was a long way from family. I had, I knew friends up there, and that would have been great, but there were other challenges in that area that made it really difficult for me to get out and about. And so just due to the nature of the isolation that I felt, I didn't have the child care support, so getting out to see friends was really difficult. Just even dealing with health challenges was really difficult at that time. So all that led to really kind of a dark place for me. And when we moved here, I was just so excited to be in an area where I'd loved and wanted and dreamed and hoped I would be for so long. And I, just like anything, there's a honeymoon period, and then there's the crash and burn, and then there's this period where you adjust and you take the good with the bad. So last year was my honeymoon period, and this year I'm going through that culture shock of a little bit of the crash and burn. The traffic is really a challenge for me, and hi Rebecca, it's not just, the military life telling you where you're gonna live and what you're gonna do. It's the day in and day out and not having the support that you normally would have if you live near family. So you have that added, thing. And then for us, I love living here. Hi, beautiful lady. How are you? It's so good to see you and hang out with you tonight. So I'm talking a little bit called Shake It Till You Make It, because we're talking a little bit about the seasonal change. Winter's not my season. And just kind of that adjustment and moving here to Virginia. I've got some tips and tricks for everybody, so hopefully what I share will be helpful. And this is really near and dear to my heart because I struggled. I wouldn't say that I was down and out depressed in New York, but I would definitely say there were periods of time that were depressing episodes, depressive periods of time, depressing situations and circumstances, but I refuse to say that I was depressed. It was a hard season. It was just a really hard season. And I love my sunshine. Oh, Rebecca says, warm breeze. Yes. Okay. I love it. Oh, I know. Right now, I wish I could get down to Florida just for a week and soak up the sun's rays. I bet you would feel like $1 million after that. Of course, you look like $1 million and you don't need it. But if your body says you need it, then you need it, right? Okay, so fast forward to the crash. Last year, I did really well here in the winter, considering the 3 years prior, winter was so long and so difficult. And this year, I am finding that seasonal affect is affecting me more. It's affecting me day by day. In some ways, I'm also just very sensitive, and there's a lot going on with friends going through some really, really difficult things. And so I really feel for them, and I carry them close to my heart. So I'm just more sensitive. But I think one of the things with the weather challenges, hey Megan, is that it just affects my mood. It affects me in a lot of different ways. So we're going to talk a little bit about what is seasonal affective disorder. How can you combat seasonal affective disorder? I'm going to call it SAD. How can you combat SAD? And I'm going to give you some big headers, and I'm actually going to go in a different direction tonight than I have in the past when I've shared a little bit about my struggle with SAD and some of the things that I've learned, because sometimes those things work, but sometimes I really need a kick in the pants, and that's the third thing I want to talk about. The major big thing, heavy hitter. Well, there's not just three things, there's a bunch of things. So what is seasonal affective disorder? It's basically, there's a range of symptoms that can be low energy. I learned that it can be a lack of motivation. You could feel that you want to sleep more. You can actually feel that you want to eat more carbs, which I found that interesting. I'm hanging in there. You can eat more carbs. You can find that you are more agitated, have more anxiety, have increased irritation. And for whatever reason, that has been me lately. And I keep thinking, oh my gosh, what's wrong? But then I'm like, it's winter time. This is, unfortunately part of the seasons that I work through. And then when springtimes come, I feel so much more alive. And then when summer and the sun and going to the beach, I feel totally recharged. So you can feel a little bit of lack of concentration even, and I find that true. I really have to use all of my tips and tricks to stay focused and to cross things off my list and stay productive. So those are the range of the seasonal affective disorder, and there's a couple different theories as to why it happens, and I will share all of them. You do not have to believe them or agree with them. I'm just going to share them because I thought it was a very interesting part of the research that I did. So one of the things that happens when the seasons shift is there's less light. And when there's less light, that means our circadian rhythms begin to change. When the light gets dark, our body secretes a hormone called melatonin. And when the light is out, our body secretes more serotonin. And so you can imagine when there's less light, there's less serotonin. And as soon as it gets dark, there's more melatonin. So for me, it doesn't take much. As soon as the light goes down, it's about 5:15 here, and it gets dark, I'm already ready to go to bed. Earlier tonight, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm really gonna go to bed tonight. I think I'm gonna go to bed as soon as dinner's over. But then I remembered all the work that I have to do. And I also remembered my class. So I didn't go to bed, but probably tomorrow I'll go to bed early. So it's just a natural and a biophysiological response to, the change in our environment and our hormones. They play a big role in how our body feels. And so that's not a bad thing. If you didn't produce melatonin, you wouldn't be able to sleep, and we definitely don't want that. It's just, it starts earlier for me this time of year, and I need a lot more time to create serotonin for my body. I need a lot more light to create that. So I just do better when there's a lot more sun. So there's a couple of things that you can do to combat the seasonal affective disorder, combat SAD. I'm not going to go into them super deep except for this last one. And I'm going to make a fool of myself. Are you ready? So the first thing is working with an AIP diet. AIP stands for an anti-inflammatory diet, and this is, we're not perfect, but this is the way we try to eat. Lots of vegetables and chicken, turkey, some fish. And if you can imagine, the gut is part of where our serotonin levels are created. And if our gut is inflamed, then the fingers on our gut inside our gut that's responsible for going in and grabbing the nutrients and pulling it into the bloodstream and circulating that through our body. When they're inflamed, they can't do their job very well. It's like if you slammed your fingers in the door and I asked you to write me a check and your fingers were all red and swollen, you wouldn't be able to do that very well. So this is the same thing with our gut. When we put things in our gut like sugar, for many people it's dairy, for many people it's gluten, those things cause inflammation, and so our body just isn't producing the amount of serotonin that we need. And that leads us to the second thing, is in the winter time when there's less sunlight, our body makes less vitamin D, and so the combination of not absorbing very well because we're not eating nutritious food, plus the lack of exposure to the sun, which creates that vitamin D, which is part of this whole process of making us feel good and boosting our immune system, the two together can actually lead to some low mood and some depressive feelings. So you definitely don't want that. So look up AIP diet or message me and I can send you some great links. You can get a light box. You see how I'm shining right now? I kind of like this. I was just thinking about it. I probably need one of these. I found the light. I probably need one of these in my office just all the time because I can tell I feel better just having a little bit of light on me. So maybe try looking for a light box. You may even be able to talk to your PCM or PCP, your doctor, about a prescription for it. Some insurance plans may even cover a light box if you're having like documented seasonal depression or depression. So check into a light box. And then establishing a great morning routine. So in the morning, it's the hardest time for me to get going, partly because my hormone levels, my adrenals, and getting everything up to where I start to feel much, much better after lunch. That's when I get my stride, and then after dinner, even though I'm tired, believe it or not, sometimes that's when I focus the best, but I think that's because my kids are finally in bed. Anybody with me? Shout out, shout out. Kids are sleeping, I'm finally focusing. I'm tracking, right? I'm crossing things off my list. It's a terrible habit to get into, but I will tell you, you have to kind of try to reverse that and establish a good morning routine. So there's a couple of things that I do in the morning that can help. One is have your partner or do it yourself before you get up, before you get out of bed, have them do it, or if you feel comfortable doing it the night before, open your blinds, open the curtains, so that when the light pours in, it starts that serotonin, it starts the hormones reversing and going the other direction, which tells you, I have energy, it's time to get up, it's time to get moving. So that's one thing you can do. The other thing you can do is when that alarm goes off, you can have some water right by your bed and drink as much water as you feel like you can tolerate. And if you use like a glass or a hydro flask, you can put a drop. We'll talk about this a little bit later. You can do a drop of lemon or you can do a drop of lime in your water, and that just has a natural cleansing response, and it's a mood boost right there. So you can drink some water. You can also diffuse right by your bed. So when I turn that alarm clock off and you just boom, you can turn the diffuser on and have it already in there. Some of the things, and I'll talk about this later, that I love to put in the diffuser, especially this time of year, is Elevation. This has it's a mood uplifting. It sounds just like it sounds. It's a joyful blend. It has a very uplifting effect to it. And you can mix these. So one of the ones that I love, I can go through all of these. I love Elevation with Wild Orange, which is great. I love it with Lime, which is great. I love it with Spearmint or Peppermint, which is great. Tangerine, which is great. And one of my favorites, Rebecca, this is for you. This is what I call, hey Megan, Rescue Mommy 911. No joke. My 90% of the time, it's these two that I've got going. And Breathe smells, it has a little bit of like a eucalyptus in there. It's just, oh, I love it. It opens up the airways, and it's just like it sounds, just breathe. You know, it just gives you that, I love it. So that's great. And the two of them together, amazing. Rescue Mommy 911. So I put those together in my diffuser and I'm good to go. That's great. And then I'm going to talk about the heavy hitter that I stick in there in just a minute. We're going to go down to that later. And then the last thing I wanted to tell you about morning routines well, you can keep a little snack by your bed if that's a good motivator for you. I like, there were these little nut granola bars that were awesome. So you might try that, or, you know, whatever works for you. And then the other thing that I do is I have a special alarm clock that actually has a graduated light that comes on, and so it starts off really dim and yellow, and it gets brighter and brighter, and then at a certain point the music, which is a very calming music, and you have a couple different options, the music turns on. So I like that because it's not like bah, 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 and you want to kill the alarm clock in the morning. No, I would never do that. Oh no, never do that. Yes, I would do that. Those things give me like a mini heart attack. No to the no, throw those in the trash. Get yourself a really, really nice alarm clock with a light that just, you know, gently turns on and gives you calming music and makes you feel amazed. So boom on your diffuser, get that going, get some water going. 1, 2, and the third thing, get yourself a nice alarm clock with a light that graduated, like a graduated light. For me, I have to get up before the sun comes up, and so that is the hardest time of the year. Hands down, so hard. As difficult as it is, which season is it where the light, I can't remember, but anyway, when the light starts to get light earlier, it actually helps me a lot. A lot of people hate that, but I love it because I start to feel alive much sooner than I had been. So that's really helpful to me. All right, enough about morning routines. The other thing I wanted to say is cognitive behavioral therapy can be really helpful. And you're like, what is that? It's a fancy schmancy word. Cognitive behavioral therapy is basically meeting with a counselor or just even training your own mind to rethink or reframe that situation. And so for me, for example, and I have to do this all the time. I mean, every single day right now, I have these thoughts and I feel kind of down, or I feel kind of weepy, or I feel a little extra anxious or extra irritable. And for me, the big question is, there something wrong? And the main thing, I just have to keep reminding myself, you know, we are human beings, we're not human doings, and we are connected. At least we are mammals. And what do mammals do in the wintertime? A lot of them sleep. This was part of their survival mechanism. There's not as much food. There's a scarcity of food. They save up and store up for the winter, i.e. that's why we crave those carbs. And they're not as active. That's why we want to hunker down, pack on the fat, because that's part of our body's way, or mammals' body's way, the animal kingdom's body's way of surviving the winter. And so when you think about it that way and you tell yourself, okay, I don't have a ton of energy right now, but that's okay. It's my body's way of saying, let's rest, let's conserve energy, let's stay strong. Maybe I don't need to be running out to Target at 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night. I have the energy for that in the summer, but I don't have the energy for that now. And guess what else? That's where the flu bugs are. That's where strep is. That's where mono is. That's where the enterovirus, the adenovirus, and all the other viruses are hanging out at the grocery store or at Target or wherever. And I think I'm just gonna stay home and have a hot tea, you know, have a cup of tea and read a book. And that's okay. So it's just reframing yourself to say, there's nothing wrong with me. This is just my body's way of saying I need a little extra rest, and that's okay. It's all right. And I'm just gonna take it in stride and just know and just trust my body and trust my process, and know that in time I'm gonna have energy and I'm gonna feel okay. And everything is okay. This is just my body's way of saying, take it easy, okay? So that's really helping me. And also, like, planning that kind of, like right now, I really need to go get a massage. I need to schedule a massage for myself, and maybe you do that year round, or maybe you don't. But if you need it, it might be the thing that you do to get you through the winter. So instead of doing once a month, maybe you do it every other week, or maybe you get a pedicure, or maybe you intentionally plan in time with a friend. That you're just more intentional about doing that, just to kind of benchmark your way through. This is what I really need, especially the month of January and the month of February. Man, if I could just take off and go to Florida, I would. I wish it weren't so far. But you sometimes have to benchmark. Maybe you do take a trip, or maybe you fly a friend in, or maybe you just take a spa day. You know, you got to do what's right for you and what's, you know, in your budget. So those are some great things you can do to kind of benchmark your way through the winter. And then supplements. There are lots of different supplements that can help you. I'm going to share with you anything and everything that I found in my research that's helpful with seasonal affective disorder. And if it helped even just one person, then I'm going to share it because of the bio-individuality and the biodiversity. It might help you or it might not help you, but it might help somebody else. So I don't want to leave it out. So one of the biggest things is research suggests that as much as 70% of us are vitamin D deficient. And the reason why, this is my theory on seasonal affective disorder. My theory is that our common low nutrient diet and all the inflammatory things in our diet and our environment, I think contributes to inflammation in the gut. And I feel like during the spring and summer and fall, when we are outside, our body absorbs more vitamin D from the sun, and it makes up for that deficit in our gut until we're not outside in the sun anymore, and that deficit becomes a bigger deficit, and it actually really starts to affect our serotonin levels or the immune system, and we're starting to fight more things in our immune system, which means we actually don't have the energy that we normally do because our body's literally just fighting infection and trying to keep us strong, right? So vitamin D is huge. You can take as much as 2,000 IU vitamin D per day. You can also look to vitamin Bs for like a B complex for extra energy. Of course, doTERRA has a vitamin line called Lifelong Vitality. And those are methylated, that's a fancy schmancy word again, methylated for the correct form. In other words, there are the pure forms of vitamin Bs, and then there are the cheaper synthetic forms. And the majority of us have a genetic mutation that can lead to malabsorption of vital nutrients and minerals, which we need for neurological health and really just the health of our overall body. All right, no problem. Oh, big hugs, girl. I'll see you next time. So vitamin Bs are great. I like to use what's called Garden of Life vitamin B sprays. So I use a D spray and a B spray on top of a multivitamin that I'm already taking, which I do use the Lifelong Vitality Pack. So that may help you. And some of the other ones are SAMe, tryptophan, GABA, L-theanine, and 5-HTP. So let me say those again. SAMe, tryptophan, GABA, L-theanine, and 5-HTP. And if you want some of these later, just let me know. Alrighty, finally, the last part of my little class here, or my live event as I shall call it, is the most fun part for me. I love essential oils. I started using essential oils when I went to New York, and we started having some health issues with our youngest and some that popped up in our oldest. And between that and the really cold winters, like I said, the seasonal affective disorder, which I didn't realize could affect your anxiety level as much as it did for me. And those things all together led me to trying to find more natural solutions for just dealing with the amount of stress and health-related challenges in our life at the time. So a sweet, sweet friend introduced me to essential oils, and I ended up connecting with a wonderful lady named Dr. Laura Ritchie, who I met her through the Chronic Lyme Summit. She was speaking on pelvic floor and chatted also about essential oils. And we just stayed in touch and became friends, and now we're on the same team as far as helping share our love of oils with others and empowering others to make wonderful choices for their health and for their family. So I am really grateful for this part of my journey. While I can't say that all of what I went through in New York was a cakewalk or anything I wish on anybody else, I can say I'm really grateful for the discoveries that I have made. And honestly, I'm really glad that we've made the health changes that we've made in our life and our family, because I know that they are right for us, even though they're difficult and maybe inconvenient and definitely more expensive. It's all worth it. And so I'm glad for that. So let me tell you about some of my favorite essential oils that I use literally on a daily basis. It's a part of my routine. It's a part of what I do. I use them some topically. I diffuse some. I'll tell you all about that. So I love doTERRA, and let me start there with talking about why I love doTERRA. There are lots of places that you can get essential oils these days, but there's no FDA regulation for essential oils, which basically means anybody can say, oh, I have an essential oil. I mean, I could say it. I could say that I made an essential oil. I could say that it's all natural, but who verifies that it actually is what it says it is, right? So one of the things that I love about doTERRA is that if you actually buy their product, you can see at the bottom, there is an expiration date and there is a batch number, and you can go to source2you.com and you can put that in there and you can find a report. So there's transparency about reporting. Is this oil adulterated or not? What is the chemical constituents of this oil? So that is fantastic. And for those of you who are familiar with doTERRA, there's a science blog that's attached to the website and a university with tons and tons and tons and tons of links to research. I have a humongous manual here I can show you that is, look at how thick this is. It's like, it literally is a textbook, and inside these chapters you will find so much information and links to research. You can even go, like, I'm kind of nerdy, so I actually love this. There's a research index here, and it's a sizable, it is impressive. There is a lot about, let's talk about cholesterol and dementia and depression and the immune system and insect repellent and hormones and sleep, tumors, stroke, you name it. There's so much information here, and these are, hi there, Kaylee, or hopefully I said your name right. There's so much information that is available. You can even go to PubMed.com and you can write essential oils and whatever topic you want to look at, like depression, for example. So the things that I'm going to share with you now are some of the things that I use, and again, if you want, you know, any of this information, reach out to me. I'm happy to help you. So my number one essential oil that I use the most when I'm dealing with a seasonal affective disorder is Elevation. It is a joyful blend. Let me tell you what's in it. You will have lavender, tangerine, clary, sage, Hawaiian sandalwood. Let me stop right there. Hawaiian sandalwood. Does that not sound like a beach vacation in a bottle? So you don't have to spend $1,000 to go to Hawaii. Just get a bottle. Here you go. Elevation. Done. I got it. You had me at Hawaiian sandalwood. But I'll go on. Okay, you've got cinnamon in there and a few other, Melissa, which is a very, very, very expensive oil, and lemon myrtle. That's just one. Now, this is my all-time favorite and the very first one that I was turned on to, basically, when it came to like mood boost stuff. Now, beyond that one, this one is my all-time number one favorite for anything mood boosting, and it's called Cheer. Let me see if I can read. It's kind of small, so bear with me. It has citrus, which is wild orange, and it has clove. It has star anise, lemon myrtle, nutmeg, vanilla, which anything vanilla is just dreamy in my book. And vanilla has a lot of healing properties too, by the way. And ginger, geranium, and cinnamon, and another herb that I can't say the name. It is amazing. I wish you guys could smell like right through here. It is fantastic. And Cheer is one of several essential oils in a kit that is an emotional therapy kit. So there's motivate, there's peace, there's passion, there's forgive. There's just a lot of different amazing oils that kind of help you on that emotional level. And it works, you guys, when my kids are just going, I will say, come here, and I'll put some peace on them, head to toe almost, like, let me just bathe you in this stuff. No, I'm just kidding. They really love it though, and I mean, I can't wait till Lewis is like 18 because he knows all about the oils, I tell you what. So Cheer is a go-to for me. I love Cheer, but here are a couple others that are fantastic. Lime is great, and the thing that I love about lime is you can cook with lime, which is awesome. You can put it in your water, which is awesome. It's a nice gentle detox, and it's great to diffuse. And if you want a little bit of a boost, and you can add a little peppermint. So peppermint and lime together, you can put them both in your hand. So I use a fractionated coconut oil, which is like a liquid version of a coconut oil, which is a carrier oil, and I will do 1 drop of the essential oil to 3 drops of the carrier oil. So 3 drops of my carrier, 1 drop of lime. In other words, 6 drops altogether of my carrier oil, and then 1 drop of lime, 1 drop of peppermint, and rub it, rub it, rub it, and then on my feet it goes. And it's amazing. It's amazing. It smells amazing. Just even giving yourself that time to do that is fantastic. Okay, so that's great. Some of the other ones, tangerine, wild orange. These are some of my kids' favorites. This one in particular is my children. Their #1 top favorite oil of all time is Citrus Bliss. You need something to calm your kids down. Hi, Shauna. Nice to see you. I'm talking about seasonal affective disorder, kind of like the winter blues, how to kick the blues out. We're going to shake it till we make it here in a minute. I'm going to get there. So, but this one is my all-time favorite. And I want to tell you a little story about Citrus Bliss and Wild Orange. These two, my kids love. So our eldest has a very mild special needs, but he was diagnosed when he was not quite, hey girl, how are you? He was diagnosed when he was almost 3 years old, and we went through a period of time in our therapy where we're really working on communication back and forth, and we started doing detox baths with him at night where he had Epsom salts and an essential oil in the bathtub, and we would alternate. We'd use wild orange, and we'd also use the Citrus Bliss. And the thing that I noticed immediately is he was so calm after soaking in that detox bath, and his ability to have a conversation, you know, back and forth and have good eye contact and have a conversation to and fro, giving, receiving, reciprocal communication went up. It was amazing. It was so much of a marked or significant change for him that when I told our occupational therapist who worked with him at the time, she incorporated the essential oils into his care plan at the clinic. So if he was too hyper and too wound up, then we could use lavender to help calm him down, especially as we were transitioning out of the therapy back to, you know, regular life. So love wild orange, love Citrus Bliss. It is really great for calming. Also, like the Citrus Bliss is really good for calming. Also helps me with mood. And the wild orange is really great. Like I said, you can pair it with any of the mints and you're going to get a double kick. Now, I also like to pair with spearmint as well. All right, so those are my favorites. Another really good one, which I don't have out right now, is bergamot. Bergamot is, it's actually something that's used sometimes in fragrances, like ladies' perfumes and colognes, which, you know, I'm not a huge perfume person anymore because I love my oils. This morning, I can't remember what I was using. I think an oil blend called Past Tense. I have it in my roller right here. And little Lewis got a whiff of me and he said, "Oh, Mom, you smell perfect." Isn't he so sweet? He's so sweet. Okay, so another thing you can do, oh, I know, doTERRA, I love it. It is, and you can, like, the starter kit, let me show you a starter kit. The starter kit is only $20, and there's 3 essential oils in here. We talked about safety a little bit ago. These are the most tested, the most trusted essential oils. You can go to source2you.com. You can place the lot number on the bottom of an oil in there, and you can pull up a report, and you'll be able to see if that oil was deemed pure. Is it what it says it is, and which it is. So the introductory kit, there's 3 essential oils in here. Peppermint is one. I want to say lemon is the other. Yes, and the last one, peppermint, lemon, and lavender. So your lavender is great for calming, and the lemon, these are the 2 that you could use for mood boost. peppermint and lemon all together, and this one's great in your water as well. So these two help you get going in the morning, help you when you're kind of feeling some of the down feelings, not feeling super peppy or motivated. Those two are my go-to oils. Now, I did the research on how much they cost. Did you know that they cost as little as 4 cents a drop? 4 pennies. It's pennies per drop. Pennies, I know, lemon is great. You can also clean with lemon. I love lemon. I don't want to open it because these are brand new. Alrighty, so there we go. That is my little kit here. And those are great for mood boost. And also if you've got hyper kids, they're good for calming. And then what I also do is I carry these in my pocket. I almost always have a vest on because I'm cold. It's cold here. And I have a couple that I might carry on, like a lip gloss, and then this one I have a ton of different oils that I've blended in here, which is a lot of fun. But they smell great, and you know, I'm standing in line at the post office and I'm just feeling a little sluggish. I'm like, hub, rub, rub, and take a deep breath. Oh, my kids are getting anxious. Here, honey. I trust them with the oils. They know not to make a mess, and my oils and the rollers are always diluted. So those are the things. The other thing, I have a diffuser necklace. You can put the essential oils on a diffuser necklace. You can put them in a little car diffuser, which goes straight into your air vent in your car, which I do too. I need some peace in my commute because we live here in DC. Alrighty, now the very last thing that I'm going to talk about. Hey Gloria, welcome back. My friend Gloria was over here earlier trying on some dresses because we're going to style her up, hopefully, and get some pictures when it snows tomorrow. She's so brave. I'm excited. Alrighty, so the last thing I want to talk about and why I call this shake it till you make it. So we're not going to fake it, but we are going to shake it till we make it, because there is so much research on dance and on movement and how it impacts your mood. And the last few weeks, I am not going to lie, it has been hard. I've got friends going through, oh yeah, you don't want to use peppermint without diluting it. That's for sure. I'm sorry that happened. Yeah, you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me. There is a dilution rate when you're using them with kids. I usually do a 3-to-1. I'm very sensitive, so it only takes 1 drop per like 3 drops of a fractionated coconut oil. So that's what I do. You can use jojoba oil, like an avocado oil, grapeseed oil. You can actually use the actual coconut oil like in the tube. It's just a little harder to mix it together, but it's very moisturizing. If you've never tried it on your hands in the winter, I recommend you giving it a try. So I was doing a little bit of research about dance because last week when I was feeling really low, like, winter, last year I just did so much better. Like I said, I was riding this high of like the honeymoon stage of living in the DC area, and this year I'm just kind of down in the crash. And even though I'm in a home and I love it, we absolutely love it, it's just the traffic and, just the flow of life and all of that. It can kind of get to you. So I put my cheer in there. I needed my cheer, and I turned on the music. And I was like, I don't care how crazy I look. I'm going to dance my little tushy off. I'm going to dance it. I'm going to shake it till I make it. I believe in faking it till you make it at some point. Sometimes you just got to shake it till you make it. Sometimes you just got to fake it till you make it, and you tell yourself, I'm moving, I am feeling good. And there's something that happens. It really does. There's research on dance. There are schools that actually have dance therapy programs. It helps release the serotonin, which is a feel-good hormone, into your body. It helps build new neural connections in your brain. It helps improve your executive function, which is that part of the brain that's like the CEO of your brain that tells everything else and all the other systems what to do and how to do it and how well to do it. The executive function, it actually supports executive function in your brain. It can help improve memory. It can help improve spatial placement, so understanding your space in space, your placement in space. It can, that improves it's called spatial recognition. There's been research on dance therapy for folks who have Parkinson's disease and who have balance issues. There are at least 27 studies on You have to do that. Turn on music every morning. Isn't that helpful? We're gonna dance. We're gonna have a dance party. I hope you'll join me. Yes, absolutely. Good for you. That is so great. That is so great. You know, it helps my kids too. When they are fighting and they are fussing or they are not listening, sometimes I just say, hey guys, get the scarves. Boom. And I turn the music on. And I turn it on loud so they get that full sensory experience because sometimes they need it. This time of year, I'll admit, I don't take them outside very much because I don't enjoy being cold. I don't like it. I have very little cold tolerance. I hate it. I hate to be cold. I can wear all the layers. I just don't like it. I can be out there for 10 minutes and then I'm done. And it's just, for boys, it's just not enough. It's not enough stimulation. And they're outside for a half hour for their recess at school, but then they go back inside and they're sitting or whatever, and then they're in the car and it's a long drive from their preschool home. And they get home and they're fighting. And I know it's because they need to be playing outside and we don't have a fenced yard where we're at right now. And it's just so cold. So we put the music on, we get the scarves, I let them throw the scarves up in the air, and they fight, and they go back and look at my Facebook, you can see they're pros. And so there's 27 studies on dance and movement for depression and for anxiety. And I actually think this is just the beginning of people really understanding how movement and how dance is going to help people with, probably even with things like OCD and with ADHD and, anxiety, and probably even with spectrum-related disorders. I know that I truly, truly believe occupational therapy and everything they do there to build these connections in the brain for little Lewis. He is doing so well, you guys. When we first had him tested for his neurodevelopmental delays, his greatest delay were in fine and gross. Oh, bye. Oh, yes. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for a few minutes. We hope you're doing great, and we'll see you next time. And his greatest delays were in fine and gross motor, and now, guess what? He's in the 99th percentile for some of his fine motor. It's incredible. He's like in the 3rd or 4th grade in certain things, and even his ability to comprehend sentence structure, and he's really, really smart. And I don't take any credit for that because we don't push him. I don't make him do homework or anything like that. He's been diligent with his therapies, and I truly believe in early intervention. So he's doing really well. And in his occupational therapy, they work movement into so much of his therapy, and I think that's a really good thing. So you're feeling a little low, you're feeling a little anxious, a little spacey, out all over the place, can't focus. Try it, and see how you feel. So that really is a wrap up of what I have to share tonight. I hope that something of what I've shared has landed on you, has been helpful for you. If you have questions, feel free to reach out. I am here and I'm happy to help. All right, let me get my music going. We're gonna dance around. I'll see you next time, okay? Not feeling good? Shake it till you make it. Bye.